This episode starts off with Kenny and his mama back at her house, and something really crazy ends up happening. The telephone starts ringing, and I could not believe it. It's ringing. Holy shit. My first thought was that it was the guy who answered Jim's radio doing that, but I don't know. The voice ends up saying some sort of poem to Kenny. They touch, they break, they steal. No one here is free. Here they come for three until you stop the melody. And it's right after that scene that Kenny sees the music box. Wow. And he gets attacked by one of the bugs. And it turns out that it was a dream all along. But somehow, the injury he got in the dream is also on his body in the real world, which is okay. We find out that Elgin almost drowned after the scene from the last episode, but he was in bed when it happened, so what? And he was saved by somebody who found him coughing up water. Boyd goes to Kenny and tells him that Elgin has an idea for using the liquid that they pulled from the monster. Put it on the bullets and shoot the monsters with it. That was expected, so not very surprising. Boyd ends up going to the clinic, and turns out Smiley's body is now covered with insects that came out of nowhere. I'm assuming that these insects hatched from the worms that Boyd infected Smiley with. Kenny tells everybody that when he had the dream about the cicadas, one of them jumped at him and burned his arm, and he got that injury in the real world too. And he also saw the music box. And what did Boyd say about all of that? Nothing. What the fuck, Boyd? Also, Marielle, you also saw the music box. Why the fuck isn't either of you getting concerned that Kenny also saw the music box? Anybody would be able to make that connection. You saw the music box? I saw it too. Oh shit, Boyd, you saw it too? Oh my god, what does that even mean? That is what real people would be asking themselves. Anyways, Boyd shows Donna Smiley's body, but the worms, they're already gone. And she's rightfully pissed about Boyd lying about the body to everyone. And as they're packing the body onto the cart so that they can go and burn it, Randall just happens to be spying on them at the perfect moment. Look at this from Randall's perspective. Randall, oh my god, he's seeing these people packing a body and they're not telling anybody about it. It's so shady. It's shady as fuck. Tabitha ends up taking Jade to the tunnels, and Jade realizes that Victor knew the symbol was in the tunnels, but Victor didn't tell him about it despite the deal that they made. So Jade goes and confronts Victor at the diner about hiding information. Jade asks him why he keeps withholding things and if he even wants to go home. But Victor just says,
"Look at me. You don't get to pick and choose what you tell us. Everything you know, it all matters. Because that may be how we go home."
This is my home.
Victor and Tabitha eventually go to the junkyard to find something, and it turns out that Victor hid some of his drawings in the trunk of his mom's car. And then he has a meltdown.
These aren't mine. They're not mine. They were hers.
I love you.
Oh.
Your sister. No, no! Okay, it's okay, it's okay.
No.
Yes, it's... Mommy, wait, please, I want to go. Always, no!
Turns out those drawings weren't Victor's, they were actually his sister's. I called Victor having a sister way back in either the episode 1 or episode 2 review. I don't remember for sure, but it was one of them. Because I was assuming that the doll in the cave belonged to his sister, and that's why Victor had such a breakdown to seeing it. But it seems like he buried the memories of his sister because of the trauma. Victor says that his sister told him their mom went to free the children in the tower. So the question is, when and how did she tell him that? Because as far as we can see, the last time Victor saw his sister was when she ran out the cellar to chase after their mom. So the writers need to confirm whether or not Victor found his sister's and his mother's body or not after he woke up the next day. It'd be crazy as hell if they're still alive, living in the lighthouse or something. Victor also said that his mom thought she'd found a way out of Fromville the same night that she supposedly died. His mom believed that the children in white was somehow the way for them to exit from land. Victor also said maybe this season will end with the scene of Victor's mom and his sister trying to find a way back into Fromville in order to save him. That would be crazy. That would be crazy if that's what happens. Jim and Randall end up trying to get the drone higher up for the antenna, but it doesn't really work. I guess it can't carry that much weight, and Randall starts putting some really crazy ideas into Jim's head, and they end up confronting Sarah about it, and they start questioning her, and Randall thinks that Sarah and all these other people, they're lying about the bodies, they're lying about the deaths, and he thinks that Sarah is actually the mole and Donna is the mole, and that so many people are in on the experiment. It's crazy, you know? I've said it before and I'll say it again. If I was Boyd, Donna, or anybody else in this town, I would have killed Randall a long time ago because he's too impulsive, too much of a liability in a delicate situation like this. And now, look at him. He kidnapped Donna and tied her up on a tree. He is unhinged. If you thought Sarah was fucking crazy, look at this guy. He's a mess. Jim, do the right thing. Take him out now. But on the flip side, maybe he's right. Maybe Dana is the mole. But Jim's idea of observing what the monsters do when nobody's looking, it's way better idea than whatever the fuck this is. They have a bunch of cell phones and infinite electricity. Charge the phones, attach them to the drone, and all over the buildings, all over the town. Let them record the monsters, then review the footage the next day. But these people act like cell phones don't have useful capabilities beyond receiving a signal. You know, you could put them randomly in places and see if the monsters are conversing between themselves. Do they talk to each other when humans aren't around? What are they talking about? You know, there's so much you can learn about the monsters just by using these cell phones strategically. Boyd and the others not showing everybody Smiley's body before burning him was one of the dumbest ideas in the entire show. Now Randall is rightfully suspecting them of being the people responsible for what's going on here, because he saw them either packing a body of somebody that they'd killed or making a fake body that they can use for their next, quote unquote show when they claim that somebody else has been killed. If Boyd showed everybody the body, things would be so much easier right now. But Randall being the mole would make his actions make a lot more sense, because killing Donna would remove one of the last pillars in the community, leaving only Boyd behind, because Father Catry, he's already dead. I also found it very suspicious, the idea that the drone can't lift that wire higher than that range that Randall was flying it. Is that really true? I doubt it. Randall could easily have killed Sarah at the church if Donna didn't show up. He's very impulsive. He's so close. He's so close to snapping. Jim really needs to slit his throat, and he needs to get on that shit quick. People think Randall will be the Daryl of this show, when in reality he was Shane all along. He even looks a lot like him. I mean, look at this. Look at these guys. They look so similar. All I can see him being is a man who'll be killed because he became too unhinged way too early in the story. The whole thing about the silver bullets just reminds me of werewolves, because they're obviously well known for being weak to silver. So them bringing it up, that's an interesting thing. Boyd should have let Sarah leave the town and explore the woods. Her presence here only has a negative impact. Eventually someone in this community is going to take vigilante justice upon her, because she's killed so many people. There's no way that they're just gonna let her live here freely like that. The only reason why I may not let her leave the town is I would assume that the talismans may have some sort of special ability when you use them all together, and I don't want to risk losing them by giving one of the talismans to her. She's also already proven that she's easy to manipulate, so yeah. Something that really bothered me is, why didn't Boyd and Marielle tell Kenny that they also saw the music box? Why? Why didn't they say anything? Everything would be so much easier in this town if they were honest about their experiences. The same way, surprisingly, Elgin was being honest about what he saw when he was drowning. Randall somehow kidnapping Donna and smacking her in the head at Colony House doesn't seem very plausible considering how many people are always around that building. The idea that nobody would see that and therefore that nobody would try to stop Randall is horrible writing. If this happened in reality, there would have already been dozens of people surrounding Randall and telling him to let her go at the RV when Jim got there. And probably they would be holding him at gunpoint because they got so many guns here. So yeah, that doesn't seem very likely to me. Sarah has done nothing this entire season. She's been so irrelevant. Even Julie has done more than her. Her character had a lot of impact in season 1, but now she has no plot relevancy. She's been relegated to, oh, kill me, oh, let me live, oh, let me leave the town, let me explore. What are the writers doing with Julie and Sarah? They need to be more prominent. When it comes to the cicadas, it really reminds me of the plague of locusts from the Bible, and the plague was released as a punishment from God. Perhaps these cicadas were released as punishment for killing Smiley. I'm assuming that the guy's girlfriend at the end of the episode was killed by the cicadas, but nighttime has not arrived yet. So, could be that these cicadas can kill people in the daytime. If so, that'd mean the people are living in danger 24/7 now, because during the day they're gonna have to be running away from the cicadas, and at night it's the monsters that are pursuing them. It's really scary. It's really scary to live in this town right now. Ethan and Victor's relationship is interesting, and I wonder how that's gonna be playing out in the story. Ellis didn't tell Boyd about his kid yet, but he's pretty happy that he's gonna be a daddy. Fatima didn't look very happy though. She also didn't look very happy when Ellis proposed to her, and I don't really understand their relationship. Are they monogamous or polyamorous, or what the hell is going on there? Because she was kissing some other girl in season 1. What happened? Are they monogamous now? I don't understand. I don't understand what's going on in their relationship. I completely agree with Jade's actions towards Victor. If I was Jade, I would have done the same thing. I would have been pissed, and just like him, because Victor lied to him and they made a deal. And Victor's been lying about so many things. I would have been pissed because I'm sure something that he knows is the key to living from land. The idea that all these deaths were faked is paranoia. One or two of them being fake is acceptable, but all of them, no. Then who would even be experimented on if 30 plus people's deaths had been faked? Who is even the subject of the experiment? It just doesn't make sense. If you're making an experiment and you're willing to put 30 people inside of the experiment to dilute the crap, it's like, what are you even doing? If this is a governmental experiment, it will be one of the worst ways you can end this show. No government had this type of tech back in the 16th century, not even in the early 20th century, and definitely not during the Civil War. The only way this could be an experiment is if time travel is also a part of the plot. The numbers at the lighthouse can only mean one of three things. One, there's someone who's been time traveling for many years for some reason, and he marks down specific years on the lighthouse for somebody to see them in the future. Number two, there's a group of people who have a tradition of writing down years in Fromville. Number three, there's one person who's been alive for 5 centuries, at least 5 centuries in Fromville, in order to write specific important years down on that wall. Maybe if they used the worms, they'd be able to survive that long, or they'd be able to survive that long, or the person himself is a monster. Reason 2 and 3 also give an explanation of the person who put up those bottles in the woods that Boyd and Sarah found. It seems to me that Smiley is definitely dead. Maybe his spirit will talk to Sarah or appear to Boyd the same way Catri's spirit did. It's also worth remembering what Boyd said about worms in season 1. If you cut one of them, you're just gonna get 2 worms. So I don't know if that's gonna tie into the cicadas and Smiley somehow. I don't know. Unless something really crazy happens in the woods, there's just no way that Randall is gonna be left alive. There's just no way. Because if Donna survives, if all three of them survives, Donna is gonna demand Randall's execution. If Jim and Randall are the ones who survive that night, then Jim should kill Randall as soon as possible. It would be dumb as fuck if Jim allows Randall to kill Donna scot free. But yeah, that's episode 8. It's not it was not anywhere near as important as I was expecting it to be.